Welcome back to day 5, session 5. Let's go. It is day 5, session 5. We got a lot to cover. It's going to be an exciting day. We're getting into strategies now, session 5. Bringing it in. Don't forget, we are getting all the way through the AlgoBox Academy. At the end of the Academy, there are tests and quizzes at the bottom. If you want to go ahead and go take a look at those ahead of time, kind of maybe print them out off on the side so you know what questions you're going to answer. Again, there's really not any kind of cheating around here. We just want you to learn it to the best of your ability, and I think it's helpful to know the questions that you should be able to answer as you're going through training, so you might want to go ahead and grab those here before you get started on today's session. Now, speaking of getting into today's session, we finished up the fundamentals up here inside of our documentation area. Fundamentals were fully covered in lessons 1 through 4, sessions 1 through 4. We covered a whole lot in each one of those. We are now here in strategies. Let's get straight into them here tonight. One tick wonder. There's going to be a lot to cover. So we're going to start with one that's relatively simple that you don't even necessarily need AlgoBox for, but it makes it easier to see them with our algo bars. So this is called the one tick wonder. The AlgoBox one tick wonder is a pattern strategy where price surpasses a previous higher low by just 1, sometimes 2 or 3 ticks there, then immediately reverses, potentially trapping new participants at new low or high. Here is one where we are looking over to the left and we see that there was a pivot there, moved up. Usually as this moves down, I want this to be fast. If you are trying to look for the key to that, I have a couple of things that you'll hear me say in the live streams all the time, a couple of phrases. One of those is, if it's fast, it's not going to last. Now, this is typically the fake out move. It is, we've come down, looking, here comes the continuation, folks, and oftentimes you'll also see a cross, a white cross come in here where retail steps in, and on those they're kind of the best ones to play against. This is also a scenario where you'll hear me talking about crowns or valleys. We talk about this a lot. We've already covered this over in the fundamentals area. We'll hit it again later on as we get into the 3 wise men area, but this is a scenario where we might crown right there with a cross, and that's even better. We break this little low right here just by a hair tick, and as that first bar comes back up, I will Dr. Seuss entry on that right there. So if you don't know about Dr. Seuss, it is as simple as you know the old rhymes from the Dr. Seuss where he says, 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. In this case, do you see the red fish? The red is on the left, blue fish is on the right. We shift from a red bar to a blue. Boom, I'm going to enter in on that position. That is a Dr. Seuss entry. You're going to hear me say that a lot, especially in the live streams as I work positions with size. So I'm going to be looking for areas there where I can get one of those 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, 1 bar, then the second bar. That's what that comes from, okay? Popping in on that entry, these are great because there's hardly any heat on them at all, or not that there isn't any heat, but the stop is very tight. It's literally, if that bar comes back down, okay, I'm stopping out. It is such a tight stop. These one tick wonders, it's almost like you got 1 tick of heat too. It's more like 1 bar, but you know what I'm saying? It is a very small level of heat. If it comes down and breaks out and comes down, okay, you stopped out. But this oftentimes is the beginning of a very big upward grinder move, especially if this starts to look like staircases. You hear me say, hey, does it look like it's stair stepping up and it's a slow grind up? Then it will probably keep going. If it goes fast up and it's a head fake and it's that whole thing, if it's fast, I know I'm going to keep repeating myself. If it's fast, it's not gonna last, right? So if it's fast, maybe not. We end up coming back down here. But if it's slow, it's gonna go. So if it's slow, it's gonna go. It'll just keep on going. Those are kind of my rule of thumb. Remember, it's not 100%, but the way that I'm going to engage, remember, everything that I'm doing here is based on statistics, and that is some of the things that you need to know. We talked about bulls and bears too. Remember that slow favors the bulls and fast favors the bears. People pull out of things really quick. We're like, oh, I'm out. It's fast, but they're more decisive in thinking through when they're going to be buying something. When they've already been in it and they want out, okay, so that happens to be some of that there.
The one-tick wonder strategy from AlgoBox trademark. This pattern occurs when price surpasses a previous high or low by 1 tick, then immediately reverses. It's a perfect setup that can trap new participants at that new high or low. Here's an example of a bullish one-tick wonder. The price breaks the low by just 1 tick, then quickly reverses, trapping traders who entered at that prior low. The one-tick wonder can also apply to the upside, trapping traders at a new high. Always analyze this pattern in conjunction with other AlgoBox indicators for better confirmation. Thanks for watching.
So that one particularly is around that cross. I'll be looking for a cross around a one-tick wonder. Let's move into the next one. That one was a pretty basic one there. Let's get into something a little more proprietary and exciting on the two-finger salute. This is also known as the 2FS. AlgoBox two-finger salute is an indicator-based strategy specifically designed for range bars. So this is not going to be coming in on the algo bars. This is going to be on our range bars. So typically going to be applying to our wave chart. Remember, we went through our 5 chart layouts, and in our 5, make sure you, again, we're making sure that everybody remembers all these things. So I'm going to hit this again, even though you might feel like it's on repeat. You're like, yeah, I know, I remember order of operations. Your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, this is going to be on either number 1 or number 2. Okay, on your 3 chart layout, it's really not going to apply at all. So if you're on a 3 chart layout, you're not going to have a two-finger salute. But if you've got the higher time frames in there on all 5, like we recommend, then this is going to come in on your tide or your wave. Most of the time, my favorites are going to be in on the wave. Why? Well, remember, the wave chart is the only chart that on a Sunday night or a Monday that I'm going to be using and getting the optimized range from the optimization that we post on Sunday night or Monday morning. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and hit that up on the review. And every week we post those in the chat, and there is a video along with that. We will actually mark those up on your charts. They look like this. Generally, if you're trying to find these without the indicator, you're looking for a spot where there are 2 hammer bars after what I call an arm. The reason I call it the two-finger salute is I always want to make sure that I'm thinking about it with an arm. I've got a little diagram for that in the deep dive video that is down at the bottom of our documentation there. If you really want to go deep diving on this one, because this is also one of the plays that we have in our full auto system. We're not going to go over full auto here tonight. We're either going over that in lesson number 7 or 8. So be waiting for the full auto stuff on that. But this is one of the fully automated strategies that you can set up. But we want to have an arm in front of it. I don't want to play this inside of a what's called a flag. Now, I know we've got new folks with us, so hang tight for those who already know what this is. But a flag is like when the price comes up like this and it kind of starts to go like this. You picture this being on a flagpole, and you know how a flag looks like this. This is where the idea comes from. So they call this a flag. If I get a two-finger salute laid out inside of this area here like this, and let's say that it shows up over here in that flag and is trying to show me, oh, hey, we've got a two-finger salute up here. Oh, well, Vinny said, I saw the arm over there. Yeah, but this is over here in a flag, and this is actually one where I want to reverse this and go long. Now, you might want to wonder, okay, well, how do I know which direction? These are going to color code that direction for you. They have the same power strength numbers and colors that we had in our dots. Remember, our dots that are blue are more powerful than green. So this one is a little more powerful with a blue, and this one is a standard red right there. There is also a pink one for a more powerful move based on how much of the body exists in those hammer bars, how aggressively did that price come back off of the position. Two-finger is basically like 2 of those getting eaten up. If you look at hammer bar theory externally from us, we're just literally drawing it on the chart there for you. Okay, there is a nice bright blue that is a super up two-finger right there, one of the most powerful ones that we get right there, coming down, touching the Bollinger on top of that. And this ends up being the continuation big move off of that. So let's talk about where our stops go on this one. So where does our stop go? You're going to see a box drawn for you. It's as simple as, remember I tell you we have our 3 stop types. So this one is going to be a box. So a box stop, which means we're going to put the stop behind the box. Pretty easy. Okay, so if we are going long with a blue, my stop is going to go behind that little drawn box. Simple as that, which ends up being the back of the tails of the two hammer bars that show up. Okay. Now I've got targets that are also going to be drawn out for me here. So if I'm going to do a multi-target, I've got my scalping target, I've got my midpoint target, target 1, target 2, and a little runner there that I'm going to look for hitting right away on those entries. Now, as you can see, this one, it was pretty easy to have gotten the targets filled. It got target 1, target 2, and target 3, and then we come back inside. So if I want to get going and hold a runner on some scenario like this, we'll talk about runner management strategy as we get into our deeper lessons where I'm working one of those Dr. Seuss's, adding to position and all of that. But we're looking for, remember, this is going to be a higher time frame beginning, so I might have some bigger opportunities coming off of one that rolls in with the rest of our rules, like a shift in the nerd or a shift in the arrows. Maybe if the arrows stay on that side, I can roll with that position into a runner. But the main objective on a two-finger salute is to try to get around 10 or 15 ticks out of it initially. Just straight to it, I'm getting 10 or 15. Now, if I got the rest, just like any of our other plays, there it may be, we may be running through a runner based on, you got to kind of have more, there's more going on that you might need to look at with a runner, but we're looking for that 10 and 15 target, and we're satisfied with that on one of these. Again, we're really applying these to the markets on like the video game style level. I'm just looking for a quick buck on a scenario like this one. Here is a down two finger, again, showing a nice combination off of the top, touching into the Bollinger Touch where it went red, and then boom, we get a super down two finger showing up right in front of it, and we cover up with our 3 target system. Right now you kind of see it come back again, and yes, of course, you know, we might, okay, well, I might want to retry again at that area, and this one was another one where we had a big down, probably because of the superpower that came back along with that. There are 3 levels in it. We have what is called loose, moderate, and super, and those are going to be color coded for you as well, and the same coloring that we talked about before on our dots and some of our other items. It's going to be, you know, bright green is going to be better than dark green, and then we have blue is going to be the most powerful, and then you've got actually this one's a dark blue and a bright blue on these, and then you've got a red or the pinks to indicate whether they are super or moderate. And there is an option to leave that text there, like this one literally will say it's a super right next to it. So I'd recommend, you know, putting these on your charts and look back to the left and do a little back testing with this to kind of see those are both supers. Let me see if I've got one in here that's a regular. Here's a moderate right there, and so it will tell you its best, well, I won't say its best guess because it literally is, it's by its definition what we have coded. Here is a loose one. Okay, so loose is, in theory, you know, the weakest one, but doesn't mean a great play can't come out of it. Like, you look at the example on this one, really great play on it. But if you did want to have some designation, if you have found in your backtest on some instrument, like you're like, I don't know, you find some anomaly in crude oil. Crude oil, when it's a loose up, it's actually better than a super, or a super is the best, which is generally what we have found historically, but markets can change on the regular, so you need to test that in your current market conditions to see. And usually I would run at least a 1 to 2 week back test to see what's been happening recently. And remember that big shifts and changes are going to come around things like contract rollover events, options expiration weeks, beginning of month, end of months, and beginning of quarters and end of quarters are some of the big macro things that might shift things rather quickly, and you'll want to check on those. Okay, no issues. Great. Are we able to change the opacity under the indicator tab for the 2-finger salute? That's a good question. I actually don't know that off the top of my head. I don't believe so, but let me check. Now, anytime that there is something with opacities, there are overrides for that. If you, it's a good time for me to kind of show this. If we can select a, opacity is not selectable. However, there is a little trick to that. So if you, okay, here we go. Let's talk about some advanced level stuff. This will apply to any color changing in NinjaTrader, okay? So you see the colors there by name, but as you may or may not know, there are hex colors associated with each of these, right? FFF is, or all Fs across is black, etc. So if you want to go find out what the hex color is for a particular color, and then you want to change its opacity, The numbers at the very front, you can add the numbers at the very front to tell what the opacity level is. Do a quick Google on that, and basically it's the 2 digits in the front that you can change to give it an opacity of more or less. So if you already know, like you're asking a very specific question on, can I change the opacity to like 50%? Cool, then you would put 50 at the very beginning of the hex code for green, okay? I don't wanna, we got a lot to cover here tonight, so that's a advanced level thing, but basically go Google how to do that, put the hex code in the front, and you can change that to whatever colors you want. Find it hard to see on my 89 range. Okay, yeah, and that can be, you can increase the opacity if you want, or you can also go into, you know, change the color itself, or change the colors of the bars. Sometimes if you darken the bars, if you like, for me, I really like to darken the bars if I'm going to be doing full auto and I want to see this on a 2-finger salute. I will darken the bar colors to a darker gray, and then that way everything stands out on them because the bars themselves are a little less important. Unless I've got something like an ignition bar. We have an ignition bar indicator now that will actually highlight a bar for an ignition. So darkening the bars is generally not going to be an issue in my opinion, but that's kind of a user preference thing for visuals. We got our videos down here for learning the 2-finger salute strategy, both semi-auto and full auto. There are a lot of components around the 2-finger salute for the full auto system. So go check those out and you can go deep dive on it. Remember, in our boot camp here, I'm just covering everything so you can get going quickly and know what we are doing and how to pick out some strategies that you might want to be working on your own. Okay. 3 wise men. The 3 wise men strategy consists of 3 full master crosses plotted in close proximity to each other. The color of the MACV Ultimate filter is used as the guide to potential directional bias. The combination visually signals potential areas where a trend reversal might develop or continuation. Now remember, I think that everything is a reversal. Everything is going to be, even on a up move, people are like, oh no, it's a continuation. Well, when it pulls back and I'm looking for this pivot to go up, I still think that's a reversal, right? I am reversing from here to here. To me, that's a reversal, okay? I am saying that every trader, and I know this is arguable, and my argument is everybody's a reversal trader if they're really good, okay? In my opinion. Yeah, let's take a look at how we might make that decision around some 3 wise men. So they will typically look like something like this. They'll show up. You got a 1, 2, and a 3. This is generally some retail level access, generally around something that looks like a some kind of trap as well. Something that looks very strong in a direction. It's like, okay, vroom, vroom, boom, 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 boom. And especially with speed. Again, one of those that you're going to find a lot. I'm going to write the word fast again, because when it's fast, it's not going to last. All right. Even better when this is coming into an area super fast, and you got what we infamously call this last guy right here, Late Nate. You'll hear us refer to Late Nate on the live streams. And if you're wondering, what is he talking about? Late Nate. Yeah, we've all been that guy. We're like, okay, the move's down. And you're like the last person to press the button. You're like, okay, finally, I have the opportunity. And yeah, don't be Late Nate. So our system kind of helps you out with that. You do not want Late Nate on your side. If you find yourself entering in and there's a white cross coming in there too, that just means that there's a lot of other idiots that probably also press the button at that spot. Yeah, you don't like it. You might have seen me in live streams when that's happened to me, when I'm like, okay, oh no, hold on, Late Nate's coming in with me, and I will literally start bailing on half of my position and close the whole thing. Sometimes I'm like, no, it's too, if it's too easy for them to get into, then I'm out of the position. You'll hear me say that a lot. So got Late Nate in there generally, and he'll usually be the last spot in, and boom, you'll see some big move up out of there, especially when the nerd is green. So I like to look at the nerd to determine where they are going, along with the concept of crowns and valleys. And I'm going to hit that over and over again because you are going to catch on to the crowns and valleys thing. Now, this is a scenario where, like that one right there, crown or valley. Everybody who's been around a while, who've been in the live streams, type it in the chat. Are these landing on crowns or valleys? Either type the word crown or valley. What we should see is a whole lot of crowns. And even this one right here, there was a little blue bar up move and another retail Rick kind of jumping in and going, all right, I'm getting long right there. And this is a very strong signal that they got trapped. The price movement was, vroom. They tried to fake out. They think they're real smart. They're like, oh, and then we got a super fast leg up and they're like, oh, sweet, we're going up. Oh. And then they're like, oh no, I'm taking some heat. And then it goes really fast and like, oh yes, I was right. And then it comes like this. And then Late Nate's like, oh, I'm getting in too. Yeah, okay, it's going long. They don't know this is coming, right? They can't see any of this. But we've all been there. We've been that guy. Oh, it's super fast. Here it comes. We've all been this guy. This is what happens. This is how they trap people into the markets. They need to make you believe something to get you to pull your money out of your wallet and lay it on the table. You're like, yeah, it feels like it's going long. Late Nate shows up. Then his buddy Bob is like, oh, me too. And it doesn't work really well. So 3 wise men is a joke because it's not really wise, but you want to be the wise man when you see the 3. And that means they can collect a lot of orders from the other side, and generally will move it the other way. The key to this is, key takeaways is in the direction of the highlights here. Boom, right here. You're seeing 3 crosses. Look over to the left, or at least that's where I have mine, or look at your phone, whichever one that you've got our MacV Ultimate sitting on, and whatever the color is, assume that we want to play that direction. Where's my stop going to be? Depends on where I'm entering. After the 3rd guy, I can basically put my stop right behind this guy. I don't have to put my stop all the way back here. I can stop out quickly if I'm wrong, because, okay, sometimes, sure, price might come down here, and then maybe some other crosses get down, especially when crosses start coming down here. Everybody's like, oh, I'm getting short. Okay, maybe they deep dive them out, or an AO shows up down here. One of my favorite spots to run it back up on some of those, but 2-try rule above this. I don't want to get ahead of myself too much there, but the way that I'm going to play this is stop above the last cross, the most recent one, and then I'm going to basically have some fun, let it ride, and we can Dr. Seuss on the way down if we're right. So I can Dr. Seuss here, 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 Dr. Seuss here. Now, what did I say the other night? If there was anything to get away, well, if you missed last night's where we talked about Dr. Seuss, and I said, if there's anything to study, go study that. Watch me do it on live streams. You want to change the size of your P&L, go check that one out, right? And the other one was learn to say nope. The play is not there. Just go nope, and it's okay. Just slam the door, right? It's okay to quickly close out your position. Those 2 things are huge, in my opinion. Let's talk about the 4-legged dog trap. Again, we're kind of warming up here. We got a mix of proprietary stuff, and then this one's not really so proprietary, other than it's a lot easier to see this on AlgoBar charts, okay? 4-legged dog trap. It is kind of like what it says. It's described by the 4 legs that are going to be moving in a direction. Oftentimes, if I am looking for a potential continuation area, I will look to see if I'm like, okay, well, when am I going to get my entry opportunity to get long again? I really do feel like this is going to keep on going because of whatever other reason. I've got the nerd has been moving up or whatever. I got a fast set of moves coming down, and I'm looking to, again, it's got to be fast. For me, I like to see the fast move down so that I know I can go, okay, fast is not going to last, coming down really quick. But what do I want to count? 1, 2, 3, and 4. You'll hear me counting these on the live stream sometimes, and I'm like, well, how many legs do I got? And I look to the left, and I'll go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay, so now I will look for the entry head on the dog. Now, there's a big misconception that some people think, okay, I'm entering in on the 4th leg right there. Not necessarily, because again, sometimes this can just keep going. It'll be 5, 6, 7. What I want to see is, as it comes back up, I want to see some jaggedness start to come in right here, and I'm looking for what I call the doggy head. So we got the legs there, but I'm looking for a head, which is going to be a Dr. Seuss entry on the way up. Stop will be underneath the 4th leg right there, and I can enter in on Dr. Seuss's on the way up. Now, oftentimes this will be really fast leg, fast leg, fast leg, fast, super fast, and everybody. And sometimes you'll see crosses come in here as well. Those are the best, because now again, when I say you see retail getting off sides, you can get really excited about some scenarios like that, and all of a sudden it starts to pull up real slow, and then it's like, oh, okay, and retail's pressing the button short right there. They're pressing short right there. They go right there, and with those one little doggy head, and then boom. There's our Dr. Seuss entry on that, and I'm looking for the run. I can Dr. Seuss again right there, and I'm looking for a return here to pull off my first set of targets on a 4-legged dog trap, and then runners. This is usually a very nice, big, fat play for continuations when this occurs. 4-legged dog trap, get in on the head right there. Stop is down here, right under the 4th leg. So your risk is this. Your reward level is going to be from here to the top of the prior move where the 4 legs started, and that's for T1. And then we're holding a runner till when? Pop quiz. If you've been around in the live streams before with us, what am I holding to? hold to the opposing signal, hold to the opposing signal, because it's so hard. You're seeing the green go up. You're like, oh, it's thousands of dollars. Oh, I want to take it. Oh, I want to take it right now. And just keep chanting this to yourself. Hold to the opposing signal. Be disciplined. Hold to the opposing signal. Hold to the opposing signal. Come on. You can do it. Let's go. Hold to the opposing signal. Hold to the opposing signal. In a green scenario, I'm waiting until a red shows up. And what is an opposing signal? It can be anything that is the opposite color. So if I'm long, then I just need something red. Okay. So it can be a Cabela dot. Boom. I can hold out till we hit the dot and close it out. It can be a component of a PRZ. I can close out here. So you can look for things above you. Now, when they're yellow, it's even better. You can see one showing up. If you got a PRZ up there, kind of gives you that nice visual target. It's like, okay, see if I can hold all the way up into it. And it's going, it's going, it's going. And you're like, it pulls back a little bit and you're panicking. You're like, which is why I like to think of Dr. Seuss, by the way, because that's kind of a mental solution for that as well. Oh no, it's coming back. Oh no, oh no. And then all of a sudden, though, it gives you that nice little blue bar and you're a little excited. But then it's like, oh no, I'm coming back down. You're like, oh, okay, I want to close it. Don't. You are missing out on big plays when you're letting your runner go. The way that you like to ride it, in my opinion, is to let it go. And then boom, all of a sudden it goes up there. You close out into the opposing signal and just practice this a few times. You'll thank me later. Four-legged dog trap. There's one in the opposite direction. We come and pop, 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 pop up. And there we go on the down drop. Entries, again, I'm not looking to enter in right here. This is the misnomer. On this one right here, I don't even see a doggy head till right here. So I know it might be like, oh man, well, pretty big stop. Yes, what you want is you want to see that doggy head land like here, even better. But in this case, that doggy head doesn't show up till right there. And when I'm kind of picturing a doggy head, I'll kind of draw it out like the way that I'm looking at it. Here's my terrible dog drawings. Okay, but dogs got 4 legs and they got a little neck and then they got a little head. Okay, there's my little stick dog, little ears, and he's real happy. He's a little happy guy. Okay, as this is coming down, I got my 4 legs, 2, 3, and 4, and then I want this little up move, and then the little down faker, and then on that blue up move, boom, that's where I want to get in. Okay, so now I know that was a little bit messy there. So it looks like this. I got P for price and pink. I'm coming down, coming up, coming down, 3 and 4. Everybody's faked out and it starts to slowly move up. And it's like, okay, we're looking, retail's like, oh man, this has been going down really fast. Oh, cool. I'm getting this nice, beautiful pullback. They start getting short right here. You might even get a little red leg. They're excited. And then it goes, whoop. Now at that moment, you can technically get in right there, but generally I liked it to be a little bit longer, just like this. And I picture that as being little doggy head. So here's his nice little back with his little legs here. Here's his little legs. Then here's his little neck. Here's his little head. And when that head shows up and his nose pops my color, blue, that's where I'm in. Okay. Now I can stop out before that. You'll see me sometimes. I just go, nope. We pull down and I'll just close out like right here pretty quick. Oftentimes I won't hold all the way down to here. You'll see me close these out very quickly because when they work, they just work. And next thing you know, this thing's kind of going up and slowly, and you'll have more people trying to get in, and then they just, totally get wrecked, and we get targets up here. Their stops are usually run somewhere up here, and you'll see some, big movements up and out of that area. Love me some 4-legged dog traps. You'll see me talk about those in the live streams all the time. Here's some live examples. Speaking of live examples, I do want to show you how to check out some screenshots. I believe a picture's worth 1,000 words. So if you are in our Discord on the left-hand side and you are a premium member, there is an education section on the left-hand side of Discord. Down here, these are literally just, I want people to just basically brain dump screenshots. Now, even better if you label them. I try to label mine before I post them in here, but a lot of other people are allowed to also, post these in this area. So let's see if we can find some 4-legged dog traps. All right, I got 50 seconds. Be right back.
The 4-leg dog trap is a price pattern designed to catch traders off guard. After the 4th leg forms, the pattern typically reverses direction, trapping those who enter late. This makes it a powerful tool for identifying high-probability reversals. Here's a bullish 4-leg dog trap. Notice how new sellers are drawn in at the 4th leg. only for the price to reverse sharply upward, creating a trap. Recognizing this pattern early can give you a significant edge. The four-leg dog trap is often hidden on time-based charts, but with AlgoBox, you'll spot it with ease. Recognize it early, manage risk, and master your trades. Stay tuned for the next video.
All right, thank you for your patience on that, and hopefully that helps to kind of drill that one in there. All right, super bands. So the Double Bollinger Pro is a dynamic tool for identifying overbought and oversold zones on any chart size. Use the super bands on large charts as part of the operating. This is basically Bollinger Bands on crack. We get some nice little designators for colors, and you also get some audio alerts on these in your settings. I generally use these on higher time frames. There are some of our members absolutely swear by these, especially on the higher time frames. This is a great one to literally, if you want to just wait for these plays, higher time frames, kick back, relax, and wait for one of these setups to come in on these and then take your plays. These in combination with the lower time frame entries, so higher time frame opportunity coming in, then entering in on the lower time frame with the lower time frame risk. Great way to use the super bands in the AlgoBox system. Here's what it looks like on the lower time frames. Lay and wait. Yep. How many of you guys absolutely love these? I know some folks are here that just lay into these on the higher time frames. Right. And I do too. I mean, when they show up, you know, I'm a versatile player. I'll play in all kinds of different directions, but when one of these shows up and I see the opportunity, you know, I'm gonna roll it. Okay, same scenarios as usual. We want to play in the direction of the nerd in general, but if you see the nerd shift after we've touched one of these, you know, these are great opportunities in my opinion. Now, oftentimes, if I'm going to take one of these as a pure entry scenario, I'm generally going to be looking for a middle of the bands target. I actually did this just yesterday on a Bollinger Touch at the top. It was perfect, and then I wanted to hold out to the middle. And funny enough, I said, I'm going to hold to the middle. I literally drew the line, and it came down and touched it and then launched. So you got to be careful on some of those where you get a little greedy on it like I did. It was against the nerd, and I didn't take my target. If you guys remember, I was up like 56 ticks, and I was getting greedy. I was like, I'll get like 60 or 70. So for like, you know, about 10 or 15 more ticks, I end up, you know, losing the whole thing and not making anything on that play on, was it? Yeah, it was Thursday. So that was another one of those where, you know, do as I say, sometimes not as I do. But this one, for instance, came up here and then see that red bar that showed up right there. This happens a lot. It can bounce up and then we might come back down and touch it again. So it's worth taking off at least half your position or the whole thing in the middle of the Bollingers. At least that's the way that I like to play those if I'm playing it by itself. Now, this is not one I want to play just by itself. Nothing, in my opinion, should ever be played on its own by itself. Remember, if I see this on a higher time frame, then I want to go into the lower time frame for an entry, either whether it's a double cross, double move, or an Enigma, or some other lower time frame entry, and we will get into those as we start coming down the list. Lots of great screenshots on these, pretty self-explanatory. You gotta love it when there's a combination. Like this is a huge scenario where if you get an Enigma down there on top of a Bollinger Touch, you know, we've got guys who will just like literally do their entire quarter, you know, in a single day on some of these Enigma touches with the Bollinger Touch on higher time frames. Huge, especially when they land between 940 and 950. Now, on a higher time frame on the Enigmas, I'm going to touch on that real quickly here. Higher time frames, I want to turn the L number down. So instead of doing a 2 or 3 L, here I can do an L1 type of scenario on the higher time frames because of the size of what is coming in on the higher time frames. Okay. This one is a Super Band Plus. Again, basically showing that using these in combinations with some of our usual routines, like a DCR, double cross reversal, double cross at the top of one of these after a nice smooth leg up. Same thing over here, nice smooth leg down, double cross, DCR, as we are working into a zone. Oftentimes we'll literally let you go all the way across rather than even taking off half in the middle, all the way to the other side, all the way to the other side when you get that extra confluence of crosses in a DCR or an Enigma scenario. Another example in the opposite direction there. Very nice, beautiful stuff. Superbands plus FibeliDots. Another super strong situation there. Red dot coming in at the Bollinger Touch. Carnage. I think these are pretty self-explanatory, but do ask your questions there in the chat if I missed some. FibeliDot on BB equals gold. Yes. You're just not using that one, Captain Rex? Yeah, it's a really good one. You know, if you struggle in other time frames where you feel like you're trying to read the market too often, I'll tell you like a pro tip. You just want to wait on the Bollinger Touch before you do anything. Wait on the Bollinger Touch on a higher time frame, then start to look for your lower time frame entries. That's a great way to make yourself a more patient trader, and you know, they're easier plays. They're definitely easier plays, less thinking involved when you're just getting in and you're touching the Bollinger Touch, because you're literally dealing with stuff where stuff has been stretched out. We've got the extension into an area, usually multi-standard deviations away from the mean, and you can get some good plays in there. This one is a combination of Sharkback, and again, just basically look at the combinations where I'm going to tell you almost all of our patterns. We want to work with confluence, not just a single thing. So same deal. We're just really reiterating that on superbands, use them in combination with things. That's going to be your best situation. Sharkback coming in, nice little play there. Another one, huge numbers off of playing with the shark into the superbands. The settings, there's really not a whole lot to talk about them. You can change their colors. You can deal with, oh no, wait, I don't think you can change color. That is one thing I don't let you do. Yeah, I kind of want to keep a standard around our stuff. If y'all really want us to change that, put it in the wish list section there. You can change the opacity and the highlight opacity, but they are going to be red and green on both sides. We can add some more features at some point if you guys really want to. Okay, let's move into the next section here. Cluster reversals. All right, so Flowmaster crosses, basically when they bunch up in an area, picture's worth 1,000 words. That is a cluster. Any questions? And I always play a cluster as a reversal. Now, doesn't mean it's always, okay, but if I'm going to get a cluster, I'm going to play a reversal almost every single time. Where's my stop go? Remember, we have 3 stop types. I'm going to always say this: dot, box, cross. Okay, and yes, on occasion, well, what about the triangle? And yeah, well, I don't recommend entering in on the triangles anyway, so unless they're in combination with something else. So it's still dot, box, cross, and some text sometimes with ready DDs if you're going to do something huge like a Titanic zone. But in general, dot, box, cross. Here's one in the opposite direction: cluster reversal. There's a lot of details on what that might be, why it might cause it. You're looking at basically a bunch of retail all thinking the same thing. And what do you want to do? They're all thinking the same thing. They're all trying to get short right there. You can tell because we've come down pretty strong. Oh, they all decided to go. Yeah, probably not going to happen, right? We can have it with the alpha omegas as well. Getting them all clustered up in an area, especially when they're looking like that. I mean, I'm probably going to play a big move off of that. It's probably 100, 200 tick move off of that one right there. Lots of clustering. Same thing here. See them all clustering up all together. All right, I'm going to look for that cluster reversal setup. Stops above the crosses in both scenarios, or below, depending on the direction. Make sense? If you guys got questions, remember, we are doing interactive, so feel free to do it. Here's where they all cluster up, and there's different types of crosses. We've got retail entering in late on it, and these generally will these will kind of be more stops being run through legs, and so the stop legs are being shown and more retail adding. It's just smorgasbord of directivity. These don't happen too very often, but when they do and you're like, what should I do? Reverse. Okay, reverse the direction. In my opinion, that is the way I play it. They can be different colors, so some people ask, like, well, what happens if they're different colors? Doesn't matter. Same thing. Okay, we want to pull away from the direction that they came into. So straight leg down, especially if it's fast and it's not gonna last. We also call this the racquetball play. If you hit a ball really hard, bam, really fast, it's gonna hit that front wall and it's coming back. Okay, if you kind of dribble it up to the front and kind of tap it, and just kind of slow roll, it'll stay up at the front of the court. Same thing. If it's slow, it's gonna go on the rhymes and the reasons. Cluster reversal. Let's move on to the double cross, double move. This one needs its own category. There are standard plays and there's advanced level plays here. This has really neat opportunities. You'll see me use this a lot, especially on GLRs, even on a scenario where I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to play into a read. This is another one that I'll use the 2-try rule on quite often as well. Let's talk about it. DCDM strategy is automatically plotted when proprietary criteria are met, including 2 Flowmaster crosses appearing within 10 to 15 algo bars of each other after a strong price move. Now, that strong price move, I don't necessarily, well, just I wouldn't worry about that too much on it, because as long as there is an upward direction, we have also seen these in stair steppers where it doesn't seem like it's very strong, like this one's like, I mean, it's debatable. Well, do you think that's strong? Kind of. Basically, you will see. Main thing is, did we get a trap to the left? Does it look like there was a 1, 2, 3? In this case, it looks like we got a 4-legged dog trap right there. We're looking for a trap to the left, then some kind of up move where there are multiple pivot breaks back behind it to the left, where it's like, okay, people who might have gotten wrecked there. First sets of usually retail are trying to keep back in that direction. Retail steps in, and we're basically going to play that pretty hard against them with a double move. What's the double move? It is the measure from the PP. That's the pivot point right there. The pivot point will show you there, and this is something you can measure from. So if I come out over here and I measure to the center of those crosses right there, our system, if it automatically draws it for you, will have the yellow designation on there for you. Yes, these are automatically drawn for you. These are not us labeling them in hindsight. These are going to show up on your charts automatically for you, along with this target line that's automatically going to measure this distance for you from here to here to here to here will be the same distance that we're looking for the target. Here's one in the opposite direction. Okay, we're coming up. We are trapping up. Makes it looks like, okay, we're coming up, we're coming up, we're coming up. And then, okay, oh, it's got to be done now. 2 sets of retail, think, oh yeah, okay, we're coming back. Okay, we're going to come back up now. Nope, 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 nope. And it'll draw out the targets there for you. So the target is obviously the target already drawn. If you're going to do these by hand, there's a video on that. If you want to draw these by hand, if you see a double cross that didn't do its thing, you are basically measuring from the left pivot, measuring inside. There are some advanced level things, because you're like, well, how do I know if it's that pivot or the one back here? What I generally say is, when in doubt, measure them both. So if you have 2 levels down there, because I'm going to talk to you in a minute about how I might use this as a GLR, gold line reversal. Let's see. Let's read a section here. When the 2 Flowmaster crosses appear within 10 to 15 bars of each other during or soon after price breaks out of an accumulation zone, the odds of the strategy working may increase. This would be a good time to pay attention to market speed and audio box. That is a great pro tip around some of that. Again, this one looks like nice juicy trap. Come back up, and everybody's like, okay, I'm getting short right here. I'm looking. Yeah, I think it's gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna target down here. This looks like a continuation play. I'm gonna take this on down there, and nope, all the way up. Now, what you'll see a lot of times is around those targets, what I call the GLR, is a gold line reversal. So I will take this for a 10 tick. I'm literally not trying to like shoot the moon on it, but I will grab a 10 tick bag off of this. You'll hear me get my 10 bag off of a GLR all the time. I'm basically going to hit the button in the opposite direction here. So as the price comes up into it, I'm going to short in on these lines here, and I'm going to grab a 10 tick bag off of that GLR almost every single time. So if you were behind on the entry and all of a sudden you see a trade progressing all the way up to its target, you have a second shot to try to grab a little 10 bag off of that GLR. Stop needs to be about the same, 10 or 15 ticks. You know, we're not going to risk it. And if you come in and you're late on that play, you need to close it very quickly, because oftentimes these can just keep on and keep on going on those. So be very careful. If you miss the GLR perfectly and you're behind on it and it's up 5 ticks, you might want to take them. Happens a lot, because they do hit those areas very quickly, which is the reason why they probably come back. Because as I said, if it's fast, it's not gonna last. So we'll probably come back off of a fast move in a direction versus a slow grind that will just keep on forever. And we have another phrase that you'll hear us say all the time is, when in a grind, do not rewind, meaning we are not going to try to rewind it back the other direction, because it's a slow grind. It's just going to keep going in that direction. There's some nice examples in here, and this is one that I know for sure. We have lots of examples on this in our education section. So if I go down here into the education area for premium members and I go to double cross, in fact, I think there's a double cross 2 try rule, and then here is a standard double cross area, regular one, and then 2 try. Lots of setups in here. If you want to go and press play on these, there's a lot of Giphies in here. There's lots of screenshots of setups inside of the education section for example after example after example of these plays. If you have any questions, type them there in the chat or in the comments down below if you're watching this later, and we'll try to get those answered there for you. But it's pretty straightforward. Double crosses are so easy to see, in my opinion, on your charts. So, and don't forget, you can always come over here and ask AlgoBox GPT. Sent out links on that last night. So if you're looking for AlgoBox GPT, make sure you bookmark the AlgoBox GPT. And I saw one of our members, I believe it was Bob from the Nomads, posted today. He tried this little feature here. Help me break down this DCDM setup. And that was just a question that he had asked himself. It will, if you click on this, it will actually ask you to upload your image of the play, and it will literally give you a breakdown of it. And you can do this for other strategies as well. Super duper handy right there. Let's play the double cross continuation.
The double cross double move strategy, aka DCDM. This powerful setup is triggered when 2 flow master crosses appear within 10 to 15 algo bars of each other right after a strong price move. For a bullish DCDM, the crosses show up after price breaks out of an accumulation zone, giving you a solid chance for a strong follow-up move. When setting up your trade, place your stop below the flow master cross, and your target should be the golden line, which is a key level to aim for.
I know it's spelled wrong.
Cross double move strategy. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
You should try to find all the Easter egg mess ups in our quick edits from our editing team. It'll be fun. DCR. Okay, double cross reversal. So sometimes a double cross, people ask like, well, hey, sometimes it reverses. What's that about? We'll also mention the 2 try rule on the double cross as this one comes up. So sometimes you might have a difficult time going, well, you know, is this a double cross or is it not? The main thing about a DCR is going to be 2 things. 2 things that signify to me whether or not this is actually just going to be something that I want to reverse off of a double cross in an area, or if I'm going to go ahead and run it as a 2-finger salute. Remember that trap thing I said from before? I need to identify a trap to the left. Now you might think to yourself, oh, well, that's a trap right there. Look how strong that move down was. Yeah, but we went up in front, so there's people looking long here. There's people looking down. That's not a really great trap. I want to see something that is so obvious with usually a multi-leg down move. Does that sound familiar? How about that 4-legged dog trap, right? So some kind of scenario where retail has, okay, they saw this one. They saw this one. Maybe they didn't get in right there. On the 3rd one, they're like, oh man, I got to get in on this. 4th one, they're like, okay, I got to get in. I got to try to grab a bag on this. And they're in on that. And then, and now a double cross shows up right here. Now I'm feeling like I've got trap setups. I've got this guy trapped and this guy trapped, and oftentimes it will try to move up there, trap this one, and then a lot of fun, and then they'll just hold them up until all of them close out their positions and push them in the direction that they want to go anyways on their opposite orders. Make sense? First thing is inside of an accumulation zone. Now, we haven't gotten into this yet of me drawing accumulation zones, so we'll talk about that now. This designated area here was hand drawn. In my live streams, you'll see me draw these. I have a hotkey for this on my mouse. It's the top left number 2 button on my GS300, and I have that one bound, but it is basically the Y region highlighter where I can just drag it down and it will project in both directions. And I just literally click at the top and I drag it down. I click at the top of one of these pivots, drag down to the other pivot down below, and now this gives me this nice region color right here. So if a double cross shows up at the top of it, I will literally reverse the play. Let's talk about targets. Stops are always the same. Stops are going to go above the cross. In this case, it'll go below the crosses. So what are my targets? If Remember, we come back to our nerd. What is the color of the nerd? If the nerd is with me, I will hold to the opposite side of the zone. If it is against me, I will hold to the middle of the zone. Same thing as I talked about even on the Bollingers, if that sounds familiar. So I might visually, I'll actually come over here and I'll press F6. One of those, if you press F6, this will give you the horizontal line tool where it'll draw by default, it's a white line. You can change it to whatever you want. So in a scenario, let's assume that on this play right here where I'm going short, that the nerd was over there saying, I'm a moderate buy right now and I'm green. Okay, well, I can still take this short as it moves up into this double cross reversal. Again, very small stop. Like, what's my worst case scenario? I mean, you gotta stop sweating the small stuff. If you're gonna be a day trader, you're gonna take some losses. There's such a thing as a good loss. This is a good loss right here with a very small stop on the top of a cross. So I will stop out right back above that one, and I will target number one, the middle of the area. Make sense? So I'm not trying to necessarily catch the biggest of bags. It depends. Like, how big is this zone? If the bigger the zone, obviously the bigger the opportunity. But I'm targeting the middle of the zone. And I'm literally, that's the whole thing. That's target one, target two. I'm literally just, if it hits the middle of the zone and I am going against the nerd, I'm out in the middle of the zone. Make sense? Because oftentimes you will see, yes, price comes up here. We get the double crosses. We come down, and it comes back up again, and we take off. I don't want to be caught in that situation. So I am exiting because almost always, like literally the stats that I have put together on my side are like, I get the middle of that zone almost every time. So that's why I have designated the middle of the zone for the target on a DCR. Any questions? Type it there in the chat. Yeah, we break out over the top of it. What do we say? Nope. Just close it out quickly. Don't try to hold on to it. Don't try to be a hero. No problem. So what happens if it's with it? So same scenario there. If we have a green on the MACV Ultimate, it's telling me we got the bicolor. Well, guess what? Now I'm really excited. So as this moves down, you might be, oh no, it's moving down. No, this is perfect. Like, this is a trap. This is a perfect trap right here. You got this big red deal. Think about it if you were the other guy, okay? You're like, oh, okay. Oh, this looks like very strong. It's coming really fast. It's coming down. You see those two crosses right there? Just think, there's Late Nate and his buddy, okay? Showing up right there. I want to go long. And as you go long, right there, where's my stop go? Stop going below the cross. Where's target one? Middle. I'm still going to take a target one right here. So I'm going to take half or T1 right here, depending on where you're dealing with your size. What's my target two? Opposite side. So that's why the region is important to draw the region when you can. Whenever you see an accumulation zone begin, how do you know if an accumulation area has begun? You need at least two pivot areas and one up top so that you can draw a spot for your region top to bottom. Okay, even better if you have two because it's even clearer, but we are basically going to draw that region for the accumulation zone, and we accumulate and then we distribute. And we talked about that in our beginner lessons at the very beginning, that markets move in accumulation and distributions, right? We'll talk a lot about that as we get into the advanced level stuff as well when we're doing the whole putting it all together. So if you didn't catch it initially, don't worry. We'll talk about it, but accumulation and distribution is a very commonly known thing, all right? So I'm going to T2 on the other side. And again, if we start running out of here, it's runner time. But in these scenarios, I'm generally not really looking for runners in a scenario like this. On DCRs, I'm looking for a T1 and a T2. I'm not trying to get rich off of the DCR. ACDC, that's right. It's a great example right here. Entering in on the double crosses, stop below. And it looks like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who took this screenshot. Price is well up above the area here, but normally I would have, it is a nice designated screenshot though, where I would want my targets if the MACV was green, right? So if the MACV Ultimate was green for me, then I'm going target one in the middle, target two at the top. So nice little deal right there, right? Let's take a look at this one. The shorts are even more fun.
Great speed today. Oh, are we gonna take a long right here? Yes, we are. Look at that right there. Get it.
Target. No. Target.
Get it.
Target.
Oh, hashtag too easy.
All right, looks like I must have had fun on that one. That one wasn't necessarily a DCR there, but that was a double cross reversal coming inside of a shark. That one kind of is a little bit of a cheat because we also had the shark there with it, not necessarily inside of there. But again, DCR. Hey, the other item that actually was shown in that one is a big long leg. So the BLL, let's talk about that. Okay, something is shooting way down, and I'm talking it's got to look gigantinormous as compared to other little moves, right? It's like a little move, little move, little move, and then like some kind of crazy straight leg down thing. And then all of a sudden you see two crosses show up down here. This is late Nate being like, he didn't get in back here. He didn't get in through all this, and all of a sudden the market slowed down just enough for late Nate to get in right here. And late Nate and his buddy, they both jump in right here on a BLL. Everybody type BLL in the chat. And I'm going to do it in yellow on a BLL. The big long leg, a big long leg in either direction, doesn't matter, up or down, big long leg, and you get two crosses, DCR. Okay, if you see BLL, you should also think DCR, double cross reversal. These go hand in hand. So you see some big long leg and you're like, oh, double cross, double move. No, no. First, I want to reverse, and on one of these, it depends on the time frame it's coming in on for target 1, target 2, based on your ATM. This is a scenario where the ATM matters. And what do we care about on those is two things. What's my last decision before I enter into a play? Big or small? My final question, am I going big or am I going small? Okay, so if I'm on a small time frame, this comes in on the 1s or the 2s. What's my T1, T2? 10 and 15, because I'm using the small ATM. And if it's coming in on a higher time frame, 4s, 5s, right? Where am I going there? And the 3 is questionable, right? I always tell people all the time. That's why, like, if you're doing 3, you just got to kind of get, it's in the middle. Like, 3's not really big. It's not really small. It's like right there in the middle. You have to do more judgment there, which is why I generally say, hey, either be on the 1s and 2s or be on the 4s and 5s. So big on the 4s and 5s. If you get some big long leg like that, and then I'm starting with a target at 15 for the up move off of 1 in this case, and then play the opposite of that if we have the opposite side, right? Big long leg up, double cross. Yeah, it's basically, it's almost like a free bag in the other direction. Kind of, I call them free bags, but nothing's free. Okay, but you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, easy one, free bagger. What's my stop? Same thing. Stops below the cross. We have three stop types. Dot box cross. This one's double crosses. Stops go below the crosses. And I'm targeting a 10 and a 15 for target 1, target 2. Now, higher time frame, yes, then I might be doing 15-20 or 20-25, depending if you're all the way up on the 5s, then it's like 20-25. Delta King. All right, so we talked about SMLK timing lines in lesson 1, or session 1, session 2. And this is based on that timing line and a giant delta. Now, this is an old school strategy here. We've got more powerful strategies around some of this stuff here, but if you see one of these and it's just, you know, in your eye, it's just like, it's perfect, you can basically take this play. Fairly simple, fairly straightforward. There's nothing that's going to show up on your charts there, but oftentimes these days, now you'll also, in a scenario like this, it's generally better. You'll actually see something like an alpha omega might show up in this area there for you. But if you see one of these and there's no alpha omega there, and you see the gigantic delta coming in there, and it's right on king timing, Dr. Seuss for the entry, 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. I take the pivot turn on king timing when I see this giant delta that it's like, okay, you just flushed everybody. Okay, especially when it's like the last part of a leg. This one, is this 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one's like a 5er, so it's not really a full-legged dog trap. But that last little leg right there is just, they're just running them all out. Everybody's like, okay, I'm out. Like, this looks like I must have been wrong up here. It looked like they were going long. And what ends up happening is all right, they just get everybody out. They shake everybody out. This generally is going to be a shakeout scenario. Higher time frame in play, which is what the king designates. And so you got a higher time frame opportunity. This is one where I can catch runners. Big plays off of king timing. And king timing in general, when a play setup shows up on king timing, I do have opportunities for runners. So that is the Delta King, one in the opposite direction. So big up move into king timing, giant delta. That's just a standout. I mean, it's got to be very, if you're like, well, is that one? look around, okay? You got to look around. And if it's like cleared an area and this is the only one standing out there, it's like a hammer with a nail. Like you see that nail sticking out? Wham! All right, let's go knock that pin in, especially if it's on king timing. So that is just a king timing combo there. I'd prefer seeing things like this, right? We get something where it comes in. We are on king timing. We got an enigma along with the designation of a giant delta. This is going to power up any play. Just powers up anything that you see. It's going to be a big dog if it isn't absolutely guaranteed. But, you know, in general, I'm going to be thinking of it being a bigger play with the giant delta. Make sense? Okay, stops on those. Basically below the pivot, so very small stop generally. Another one of the reasons why these are great, because it's such a small stop. You're just putting it behind the pivot. You don't have a dot box cross scenario here. This is literally just a standard pivot play scenario. I'm putting it back behind the box is the candle, so it's literally behind the candle that you enter it in on a Dr. Seuss, which is generally going to be very small unless you're playing this on a higher time frame.
The Delta King strategy combines a large delta flag near a king timing line with confirmation signals like a green enigma. Here's an example of a bullish setup. This alignment signals a strong upward move and a great opportunity for runners. Here's a bearish Delta King setup. A large delta flag appears near a king timing line, signaling a potential downward trend and a high probability trade opportunity. Stay tuned for the next video.
All right, so we've made those little quick videos there for you. Anytime you need a quick reminder, those are there. I do want to ping that real quick. Remember, if you are not subscribed to our other YouTube channel, AlgoBox Official, you come over here to the videos area, you'll see, you know, the bland, straight up thumbnails of, okay, I need a quick video on what was that, or what's the designation for anything, plover, alpha omega continuation, hold to the opposing signal. What's that whole concept? Vinny said, hold to the opposing signal, audio box, all those over here on the AlgoBox official channel. That's what we are running through inside of the documentation. If you're ever wanting to go, let me just see them all at once. This might be another visual area that you might want to use to go, oh yeah, let me go see that 2-try rule thing again. And that is there and available for you, along with, of course, our ChatGPT. If I can come back to our documentation here, and we're going to the diamond dot. All right, diamond dot. This is in our older trainings. This is one of the very first things I teach our students, because this kind of shows you the power of AlgoBox. This is the combination confluence setup. Now, this one here, we've got it's a diamond and a dot. It is that combination. This is a twofer if you got a diamond and you got a dot. You oftentimes use the same color, but if they are opposite colors, here's what matters. So where did the stop go on these? Again, dot box cross. Stop goes behind the dot on these plays because the dot is generally smaller. Now, on a diamond, it's going to be a little thin thing. So, you know, where you play that kind of up to you, but just basically generally, if it's going to work, then you're going to have the stop right back behind it. If it doesn't work, again, little tiny risk on a diamond dot play there. And same scenario on targets. I'm looking for target 1 and target 2 based on big or small. So if we're on a small time frame, I'm looking for 10 and 15 out of it. If I am on a higher time frame, I might start at 15 or 20 for target 1, and those ATMs will kind of apply. And, you know, if I've got other things along with it, I might hold out runners for all of the other additional criteria stuff that we talk about in the advanced areas, or riding through and continuing on with Dr. Seuss entries. If you've got a great play with things like you've got your 2 things with you, you need to make sure you got the nerd and the local arrow with you, then we might hold on to runners and keep on going. Here's one in the opposite direction. You kind of get the idea. It's easy when they're the same color, but let's talk about what happens if I've got a different color, Vinny. We want to go in the color of the dot. This is the trickier part about this, but it's not that tricky. If you get a diamond, didn't show a dot, remember I don't play anything by itself, but if I've got a diamond and a dot, this one is green. So you're like, oh, well, it's a green dot. What do I do with that? Go in the color of the dot. That's it. That's as simple as that. Color of the dot, same thing. Stop goes below the dot, and you're riding out of position. T1, T2 scenarios based on what bar size they came in on. runners, same criteria as usual. If you're going, you got to have a higher time frame play coming with you, but you're looking for and waiting for an entry. This can be a great entry with a diamond dot. Okay. Again, everything that we're looking for is in combinations with things. I don't like to play anything alone. We have rules in our room where I say things like my standard operating procedures are, the big one to know, trade nothing alone. Nothing. Even enigmas, I generally would go, look, have something else with it. Have direction along with you. People are like, well, there's exception because you trade the enigma. Well, yes, but there's still other things. I still take into account confluence, where I'm at in the trade count on the day, where I'm at on my P&L on the day. Am I inside the fiddle zone or not? Right? So still, even with those, trade nothing alone. Okay. And if you just keep this in mind, so you're like, oh, what do I do if I get this thing? Do you have something else? If you got two or more, this kind of comes to, I think there's a military thing in the Marines at least. It's one is none, two is one. Okay. You got to at least have two, and we kind of apply the same thing here. Diamond dot, it's a green diamond. We don't care about the green in this case. All we know is the harmonic just powered it up, and the dot is the color that we want to go with, always in the color of the dot. Always go with the color of the dot. Here's some examples, and of course, same thing. Go into Discord if you want to see a ton of screenshots on things like this. Let's scroll down here, and diamond dot, we won't play a video on that one, but there is a short video somewhere on the diamond dot as well. Double delta, this one is a beast. This one you'll hear us talk about all the time. Double delta, ready up. So the AlgoBox Delta Flagging Pro is a powerful tool for identifying institutional trading. It visually displays large-scale buying and selling activity, now known as ReadyDD. So why is it called ReadyDD? Well, I have always said, you see a double delta, then get ready, and I say ready up. I want to take the next play. This is where it all begins in my older videos. Take the next play after a double delta. You see the double delta? Don't do anything necessarily just because the double delta showed up. Now I'm looking for anything off of my cheat sheets. What are the cheat sheets? Make sure you guys go print one of these out, or you got an electronic version. It's all cool like this one. There are two cheat sheets. This is cheat sheet number 1. This is cheat sheet number 2. Remember, these are combinations of what are our two pillars. Two pillars, pop quiz time. What are the two pillars? Structure and an RTOFA event have to be part of our entry systems, right? Okay, so this is already going to be an RTOFA event. Major money on the lines getting in when I see one of these. Okay, now I still want to catch a play next. The ReadyDD. Why called the ReadyDD? We now have a designator on your charts that will draw a vertical for you on the chart so that you're not always having to look down at the bottom of the chart, because that was something that I'd always found myself. I'm like, okay, I got to keep an eye down here. And I would miss these all the time, y'all. I would miss them. More so than I would miss, and forget, y'all know how many times if you're on my live streams, I forget to turn off real-time protection from Windows. And of course, you know, Windows sits there and reminds you, oh, turn off real-time protection. It will automatically turn itself back on. At least they have that note there now. It used to not tell you and it'd just be like back on, and you wouldn't know it. You're like, I turned that off. But yes, I would forget these more often than that. So I made this originally just to show ReadyDD on the chart. Okay, cool. Like we've got a ReadyDD right here. So I don't have to look down there anymore, and it'll be right there on the charts. I'll show you that here in just a moment. But what it is we've got some major double delta. Not one, but it's happened twice, which means we are twice as nice, baby. It is ready to rumble. Whatever the next play is, I want to get in on that bad boy in general. With the standard OOP, always keeping in mind order of operations first. Oops, remember the oops? Oop, OOP, order of operations first, then execute on the play after a ReadyDD. That's it. You can take a pause right here. That is an important moment to understand. OOP, order of operations. Then, got my 2 steps for that, right? Then ready, boom, take the next play. In the direction of what we got our information from the OOP. We already know. We're hovering our finger over the mouse as we have our OOP, right? Hovering the mouse, you got it. And then you see the ReadyDD, get ready, and you are ready so that you don't have, you know, you're not behind on a play, you're ready to go. You're stalking that play, getting ready to hit it, and boom, go. So you'll notice ReadyDD shows up. Now, if you have the ReadyDD turned on, you would have received a notification right here in front of, because you see, this actually lands kind of right here, right? Well, the first one was here-ish. The second one is right here. So once those two have shown up, now I want to know I'm ready to take the next play. what is the next play that you see on this chart? That is a PRZ cross, which I don't think we've gotten to yet. In our strategies, we have talked about it in general for some of our basics areas in the fundamentals area, but that right there is a double crab, double PRZ cross, reversal after a get ready. Okay, so nice one to take back the other way. Same scenarios on all PRZs. I'm still going T1, T2, and in something as powerful as this, I am looking for runners because it's powered up. T1, T2 is based on big or small. What chart did it show up on? So the ones that get harder to see are these, which is why I invented the Ready DD, because it's going to actually draw it there on the screen for you. This one right here, because this one actually after the double delta, then it had a delta shift. This one's got a red green. That's called a delta shift. You're going to learn about that when we pull up the indicator itself. Basically, you see one of these, get ready. Boom, take the next play. That one's a shark. This one, again, same thing. Get ready, because we had this. Get ready. Take the next play. What was it? Cipher crab, DCR. See ya. Green on the way up. Big dog. Then up top you got, that's called a moonshot. You'll learn those here when we get to the moonshot strategy. Ready DD. Does everybody see it? It looks like this. Giant deltas sitting right next to each other of the same color. Now, when they're flipped and they're back to back on each other in the same size, or both of them gigantinormous, that's also called a delta shift. And we designate those for you on your charts like this. Now, this is an older screenshot because it doesn't have a color designator on it. But don't worry now, and you can have yours clean, by the way. You can have yours just do the standard white Ready DD. But you do have some new settings now in the parameters where you can turn this to give you the designated color for looking for longs or shorts after one of these plays. All right. Same thing. Now you notice, like, let's say that you didn't look down here. Isn't it cool that you can see it show up on your chart like this? Again, this is just screenshot. This is a clean chart area that we're designating, demonstrating. Normally there's going to be other things showing up there on your chart here, but this is just a clean setup here to kind of show you visually what this would look like and why and how it works without anything else on the chart to kind of distract you from it. Okay, look at this. Double delta, double delta, double delta, triple trouble. Well, guess what? Isn't it neat to be able to see one of those on the screen? Yeah. Now, can most traders see that? Nope. This is another one of those where we have the cheat called AlgoBox because they can't see that stuff. All right. So we got a triple, and what do we call this? Pop quiz. This is advanced. What do I got when I have 3 Ready DDs back to back to back of the same color? What is that called? This is advanced and come about in the last few months. Titanic Zone, the TZ, that's right, Titanic Zone. And for Titanic Zone, what am I generally looking for? Good for a reversal, yes. So we've come down to that area, 3 of a kind. We're gonna rewind, right? 3 of a kind, I can rewind, same thing, here it is. So sometimes, when it's like this, this is what I mean. This is a scenario where I probably wouldn't have seen it. But when the calculations are being done internally and it's like, yep, you got some, and they're throwing it on your chart and it looks like this, even an idiot like me, I can figure it out. I'm like, oh, there it is. Oh, hey, I see it now. Right there on my chart, can't miss it. And I take the play. Great little video there on it. Again, it's so new that we don't even have a kind of one of the new updated videos. Don't worry, there's still more coming. Our video editors are doing a great job putting out some content there for us and making them nice and official for us. Oh boy, the double delta shift reversal. Now, this comes into exactly what we talked about earlier with the double delta shift. Now, to have this means we've got exactly what it says. We've got double delta shifts. And what I just showed you a delta shift was earlier, a red green side by side, right? A giant red green. All right, it's as good as I can get here on the zooms. So I'm going to designate this one yellow because it's a red double on the left and then whoop, a giant green right after it. Giant red. So there's a battle here. It's like this means they got picked up, baby. This is absorption, like beautiful absorption, and visually being able to see it and then drawing it on my chart for me to know. I can't miss it. It's like, duh, it's obviously right there. Now, a DDSR This is referred to as the DDSR, double delta shift reversal. Probably tells you what it is. It's a reversal play lookup on a scenario like this, right? So double delta shift reversal on one of these. This is my infamous 40 tick bag. I'm looking for a 40 tick bag. Now, on NQ, found this gets bigger. This is like, you want to get a 60, 70 tick bag out of this, even on the YM. I've seen these hit 60, 70, but I'm trying to catch the meat of the play. And this is almost always for me. I'm grabbing a 40 tick bag. I'm going to try to hold out for the 40 ticks on one of these scenarios, or 40 tick and then hold to opposing signal, because these things will launch positions big time, okay? Especially when there's a trap involved. Now, if there's not a trap involved, these are also really good inside of accumulation areas, less so when the market's at a 45-degree angle, okay? If the market's like in some trend days, be careful. If you're writing this in your notes, trend days, be careful of DDSRs on trend days. You're like, oh, I'm going to take it. Yeah. Okay, where does a stop go on one of these? Simple. We got dot, box, and cross. Well, in this case, it is the box over the text. So if I'm going short here, I am literally going to put the stop over the text. Now, sometimes that's pretty far off. You got to be careful. If you're going to win 40 ticks, the risk is also a little bit larger as well. So you got to be careful on that. I'm usually going to toe in the water, quarter position on one of these plays because it's so big. And then I'll try to size up if it's going to go. But this is a trickier play in general. Now, it doesn't look like it on a screenshot. This is like a perfect, easy screenshot. And if it's inside of an accumulation zone, easy breezy. But again, if the market's in some 45-degree angle thing, you might have a scenario like this one. This one, I don't think this is easy. This is a scenario where, you know, you get the double delta shift. I'm trying to hold this up for 40. Yeah, it went to like 20 ticks, so you might take that play, but all of a sudden you get these two red legs. You're like, oh, shoot. But then, yes, it ultimately ends up giving you your 40 tick bag, but you got to have a stop way down here. So, you know, it might be a 40 tick stop, unfortunately. So again, you don't have to play these, but I'm just telling you, if you are going to be a DDSR player and you love the fact that I love the visuals on them, because it's like, hello, how can I miss that? Right there on my chart, gigantonormously yellow. I'm awesome. It's also used for get ready. If I see it and I'm not necessarily playing, I can't tell if this is a reversal or not, right? This is literally in this little narrow chopped zone. Oof. And those are spaced out. The closer they are together, the better they are. This one's a little spaced out here, but this is going to designate me. If I got two yellows on the chart, it's another one where I'm still looking for get ready. And that next play is going to be a monstrosity. Now, I'm not saying it's going to. I can't tell you absolutely with absolute certainty that the next one is going to be. But statistically speaking, this is probably where the big play is going to be, if you ask me. And again, it's just my opinion. All right, backtest it yourself and see for yourself. See how you want to use that. Now, here are the settings and the parameters. Very important to enable these. Now, if you've got R3, the most recent version of our release, we are on, as of today's date, 10.5.5. Release number 3, it actually has these automatically selected because R2, I forgot to check this in the workspaces for you, but the parameters there, so you can just click it. But yes, if you're setting up new charts or something, make sure that these are turned on if you want to see the visuals on the double delta shift. Otherwise, it's just going to say ready DD, and it's not going to have your fun colors there for you either. Structure plus RTFA, you got it. Titanic zone, that's right. Nice little visual there from our graphics team. I like it. Double delta shift with an Enigma back behind it, and all the way up to a Super AO. Targets filled. Very nice. One of the ICT students is dropping off my food delivery on a Friday night. Beautiful. Thank you, ICT students. All right, let's see. Control 4 here. This is a really good video. If you were going to catch a video this weekend, go watch this one where we do the whole DDSR walkthrough. This link right here is actually timestamped to go directly there. I'm going to put this one there in the chat. There it says the timestamp right here. I'm going to see if it will let me copy that link. Copy link. I'm going to post it there in the chat for you guys. Save this one, bookmark it, and check that out. What are y'all laughing at? Y'all laughing about the ICT student at my door right now? All right, double dots. Man, this used to be. This was such a cool play, and I'm almost nostalgic for this. All right, let's have a moment. Let's have a moment. Y'all remember this beautiful thing? Oh, the double dot She was so beautiful. It's like, just open the door to me. Let me see what's inside. Just come on inside. Let me just turn it on. Just let me feel it. Oh, the double dot. And then we were like, you know, you thought that was cool. And then all of a sudden we got things that are so much more powerful than the double dot. But you know, she used to be the go-to. She was the goat. This was the goat of goats. The double dot, so powerful. And then we got way more complicated with it. But basically, it's exactly what you think it might be. 2 dots close together in an area, back to back. Beautiful Fibella dots, multi-fib, multi-Elliott wave. Super beautiful combo of structure. But without RTOFA, she's so sad. She's so sad. If you're a double dot player, I love you. Okay, but this is one where it's like, you want some other things with it. Make sure, at least, if you're going to do the double dots now, just go in the direction of the 2-step rule. Do yourself a favor. Best plays are going to come off of those, although you'll see absolutely perfect ones on the regular, but it's generally because you've got some other stuff going along with you, like maybe coming into a Bollinger Touch, or coming into a Masher area, or coming into you got the nerd shift, and you got the nerd and the arrow, and then a double dot. You know what I'm saying? Double dot, it is exactly this. You got red ones, you got green ones. The blue and pink ones are more powerful. Whenever you have 2 dots back to back of different colors, recency is key. I mentioned this in our fundamentals area. This is a key to all of our stuff. Oops. One of those key phrases around here. Important, recency is key. Whatever. And this applies to any of our stuff. You get a red, then a green. Green is going to win. You get a green, then a red. Red's going to win. You get a blue, then a red. Red is important. Okay, if you're like, well, what if the blue, it's more powerful? It doesn't matter. Whatever is the most recent one, that's what matters. So recency is key. In this case, it's going to be red because we went double dot. So if you're like, it's a double dot. Yes, you can absolutely play a green to red, and then, oh, it's a double dot. Yes, play it, because this means that they are moving this in a harmonic way, and you want to play that double dot. Same thing in the opposite. You see a red and a green real close. People always ask me, oh, what do I do if they're like, oh, they happen right next to each other? What's the most recent one? Go with it. You got to practice that, okay? Do it in market replay. Play it 3 to 5 times. At least 3. At least 3. If you're not going to go the full 5, please do it 3 times. All right? I want you guys to succeed. It is my goal that our traders are the best in the world. I don't want to create mediocre traders. I want to be known as the guy who created the greatest traders on earth, with the combination of our tools and our SOPs and the mentorship trainings. So help me out. Help me reach that goal to be the guy who created the greatest traders on earth. Okay. And I know you can't do it without AlgoBox, so I don't even try to pretend. Let's go ahead and play out this beautiful double dot, because I am nostalgic for it. It was, oh, so many lines of code. 3,500 was the original OG, and it's now up to like 3,900, 4,000 with an extra juice in it. Oh, it's a beast.
The double dot strategy is all about confluence. When 2 Fibella dots of the same direction appear within 10 to 15 algo bars, it signals a strong potential reversal. Here's a bullish double dot setup. 2 green Fibella dots appear close together, and price immediately moves up. The ideal stop placement, right behind the latest fib dot. Now let's look at the opposite. 2 red Fibella dots appear, confirming strong selling pressure. Price drops immediately after. For extra confluence, watch for SMLK timing in delta flagging. But what if the dots don't match? The most recent signal usually holds more weight. Like here, a green dot appears, but the latest is red. Price drops, confirming the bearish setup. That's the double dot strategy in action. See you in the next video.
All right, double dot nostalgia, which brings us to the HarmoniDot. Are you ready for some HarmoniDot? We've talked about this on a couple of these already. The HarmoniDot is the general term for what we talked about in a specific idea of the diamond dot. So a diamond dot is a category. This is more of a category of things. HarmoniDot is a combination of a harmonic plus a Fibella dot. Harmonic plus a dot, also known as HMD. So if you hear our members type in HMD, HMD, HarmoniDot, same. Got it? So on a HarmoniDot, it is a combination. So when we talked about the diamond dot, the diamond was the harmonic and the dot was the Fibella dot inside. Now, we can do other combinations of those because, again, harmonics, when we went over the harmonic structure in the fundamentals area, remember there was all of we talked about the animal patterns, right? We had the shark, the bats, the crabs, right? So all of the little animal patterns plus the dot inside of the PRZ. The PRZ is the potential reversal zone. Remember, PRZ, important. And what did we invent? We invented the PRZ. What does the P stand for? Predicted. I'm going to show it to you ahead of time. This is the yellow box. If it's yellow, that means get ready. This is where one will potentially show up if we get to that area, which I can use for a target or get ready to potentially look for a layup to set up in that area. And that is the PRZ in the AlgoBox harmonic system. Inside of the HarmoniDot, shark backs. Sharks are the most powerful harmonic. There's statistics on that. And if you go in our room on the left-hand side, there's some nerd stats in there on sharks. Sharks are the most powerful. That's all I care about is the most powerful. Okay, shark, strong. Diamond, weak. If I know the strongest and the weakest, then I can play into that. Okay, so breaks of these or the dots with these, that's why the dots are even more powerful along with these, but a shark might hold the whole thing because it is a beast, all right? So sharks are the strongest, diamonds are the weakest. You really just kind of need to know that in general. If you're like, oh, should I go into dot or shark? Like, shark. Okay. You want ones, in fact, you remember how I showed you in the fundamentals area when we went into the harmonic section that you could actually designate which of the harmonics show up. If you wanted to turn off everything and only show sharks, it's kind of fun. You might want to have some sharks, like you might have some shark charts and just sharks over on one spot to maybe do some fun back tests on. Remember, you have to increase the bar counts to the left if you're going to do that, because for performance reasons, I have it looking back 500 bars to present forward, just so that your PC doesn't take forever to load all of them. Because remember, when you are seeing this much work, there's a ton going into the calculations to be able to calculate all of the multi-fib areas and the extensions to be able to determine whether or not something is a harmonic shape. And when there's multiple shapes, you can just start to imagine. And if you thought there was a lot of code inside of the dots, you should see how many lines of code are in the harmonics. It's insanity, okay? The simple combination, though, we've taken all of that, and all you have to care about is what color is it? What color is the box? What color is the dot? Same thing as always on an HMD. What color do we go with? Do we go with the box or the dot? Pop quiz. What direction do we go if we have opposing colors, or the same, obviously, but what direction? We go with the dot. And yes, it is with two T's because it actually is a reference to old C++. All right, so the dot is actually plus sign, but that's just because I'm a nerd. Deal with it. All right. What direction? We go with the dot. So if I have a green dot inside of a red PRZ, I'm going with the green dot, even on a shark. It might feel a little scary, and that is a rare scenario. It doesn't happen very often anyways. But if you do get a green dot inside of the shark, we are going long. This is a scenario where we've got a red dot and a red shark. Pretty easy. Now the question is, where does your stop go? On a standard shark with a shark back, it's going behind the box. But we like to go with the least amount of heat, so a dot is going to be the answer. We're going to go stop behind the dot on a play like this, because basically it's either going to work or it's not going to work. And same scenarios here on a dot, you're going with T1, T2, based on the bar size. T1 and T2, large, small, depending on which bar count you're on, right? The AB size. Don't see any, must have done an all right job. Remember the color of the dot, this one's a pink one, so it's probably going to be even more powerful. And sure enough, look at this monstrosity absolutely explode out of that butterfly there with an HMD inside the butterfly harmonic. HMD combination, pretty simple. You see a box of a PRZ and a dot inside. That is an HMD, HarmoniDot, and it's going to get that extra juicy power because you just got so many structural components laying in together. Multi-fib, Elliott wave, plus multi-harmonic. Harmonics are already just basically, it's saying the market is moving in this harmonic format, and so we're looking for that reversal, potential reversal zone out of there, and you get a dot inside of it even more so. Super powerful. Take them on their own, especially in the direction of the Mac V Ultimate or the Arrow, and usually they're in combination. Another huge combo here. HMD plus an Enigma inside. Yes, please. Can you see the juicy power on these? Yeah, I think so. That's a nice one. Even more powerful with the blue. What does the blue mean? The blue is, this already tells you that you have the MACV with you. MACV Ultimate is with you. And we still consider this a HarmoniDot because it looks like a dot. Okay, and it's got dots inside. So just deal with it. It's an HMD. It's a fancy HMD. But it is a combination of the PRZ and the Enigma superpower, the pink power. That's right. Got more cool examples right there on a HarmoniDot. Sometimes it might make you a little scared, like that one. And then there she goes. Completion. Beautiful. Whole video around that one right there. And the headshot. Let's go with the headshot. Oh, look at this beauty right here. One of my favorite plays. I think it's the gamer in me. Feel like I'm putting a reticle, getting max damage, aiming for the upper body, the little, you know, the dome on the head. You know what I'm saying? You get that chrome dome on top. There's something about getting a headshot in video games. You know what I mean? It's like, there's something about it. So we've got the headshot here, another nostalgia thing here. But not necessarily. Like, this one is still legit. Like, legit. Still one of the most powerful things we got here. We've got multi-fib plus Elliott wave plus an R2FA event. Generally going to be a retailer getting offsides, and we get a run on them. Same scenario as usual for the targets, T1, T2, based on the ATM on big or small. And then runners apply based on, did we get a higher time frame coming in to go along with you? For did you have a higher time frame potential here? Did we top off of a Bollinger or not? Or are we still sitting there somewhere in the middle? Then we're just going to get our be happy with our T1 or T2 scenarios. And this is a combination of the Fibella dot and a cross. That's it. And we do think of it basically being a little headshot, little reticle cross on a little head. That's what it comes from on picturing the, here's a little dude, a little military dude, you know, a robot. Robots, obviously. Little robots. All right. And boom, headshot. If you're a gamer, you know. But basically, max damage, precision, yada yada, and it is. It's very precise. Stop, same scenario, except that in this case, I do put stops behind the cross. This is the one exception where I don't do the smaller one. I will go ahead and give it the extra area there because sometimes the dot will reiterate in and around these areas, and it's more powerful the fact that retail has hopped in at that spot. So I will put the stop below the cross on a long and above the cross on a short. Make sense? And then I'm looking for T1, T2, and I'm happy, right? Grabbing bags off of those. Okay, more examples, stop loss, etc. Suggested targets, target 1, target 2, minimum 10 ticks and a 15 on the lowest time frames for suggested targets, and again, stops. You know the deal. Now, there can be even more powerful. How about one where it comes in and we got an AO cross? You probably figured it out that it means it's likely more powerful. So on a scenario like this, I'm going to get double the bag sizes. So if I am normally going to be 10 and 15, what's a double bag on an AO? Double bag is going to be 20, 30. So that's a scenario where I'm going to instantly press the little position manager buttons where I'm going to go, boom, go to my longest, farthest position out. So it will automatically kind of move those targets for me. Or if you haven't gotten used to that yet and you're not practicing enough on it, then you might want to move those out by hand. But those are the scenarios we want to do that. Looking for a double bag on an AO for obvious reasons, along with the Fibella dot. That will conclude number 5. Happy Friday. We're in on Saturday. Going to do another set. We're going to move to number 6 tomorrow night. We'll start in with the ignition bar. Don't miss it. If you got questions, pop them down in the comments. We'll try to get them answered in the next video. Any questions that I might have missed or something, put them in the comments here so that I can catch them up in the next one. Thanks for hanging out. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis, G, and Eddie B, I am sending out the Big H-Town. See ya. Art team, show them how it's done.
The old adage where, you know, the individual investor doesn't have a chance because the institutional investor has better technology, better information, and, you know, more money and better opportunity, I don't think it's real anymore. I think the edge is on the individual investors, because they're small, they're nimble, they can trade, they can use they have front end technology.
Don't waste your time. Leave the technical analysis to us. You just play the game.
Forex is littered with crooks, black hat guys, all this kind of shifty characters and companies trying to extract money from your pocket and stick it into theirs. And one of the things that they do is operate these Forex signals.
Delta Weiland, long, look for long, harmonic pattern. Pick up, down, on freeze. Order filled.